Hello. I just wanted to pop in real quick because I just had an interaction with someone, and it was a really interesting experience. I was um, I was in the office of a professional, and I was a tax preparer, and my taxes are infinitely more complicated this year than they were last year, primarily because of my son's disability status and his the income that I get from that. And this particular person had done my business taxes previously. And so I was in basically trying to see, like, would you be willing to do my personal taxes as well this year? And so because it was kind of like really kind of complicated and we were having this conversation, I could tell that she was like, I'm going to say no. I was like, and in my head, I wasn't like trying to force her to do it, but she'd already done my business taxes for the last however many years. And so it was really interesting to me in that moment because I realized that we get told that a lot in families who have special needs, families who have your caretakers, because our lives are extra, right? And we don't feel like we're extra. Like, we don't feel like we have extra. We don't feel fancy. We don't really feel like we're out there demanding that people do all this extra stuff for us. We just want to be, you know, allowed and accommodated at a really basic, minimal level. And so when people refuse to do that, or they deny our requests for assistance, or deny us as paying clients, so if we're talking about doctors, therapists, schools, neighbors, it doesn't matter, personally, professionally, that hits a certain spot in us, doesn't it? That, oh, I'm not good enough to be helped by you. I'm not, I'm too complicated. I'm too extra. And it hits a certain pain point, so to speak, right? And so when I'm having this conversation with this accountant, I could tell, because I'm just really good at telling what people are kind of thinking and how they're processing. And not in so many words did she say, no, I'm not going to take your case. But, there was a lot of kind of talking around it. And you're just like, oh, this person doesn't want to do this. And so I was just like, okay, well, thank you for your time. And then as I got in the car, that's when I sat down and I was like, ouch, that kind of hurt, right? Because it comes up with that feeling of fear and scarcity that's in all of us, right? That pinging. And then immediately I go to, you go to this space of stress and fear and worry and anxiety and hurt. so in that moment I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, ouch, that still kind of hurts. Even though she wasn't like denying me to helping because of my son's disability, it was just a more complicated case than she wanted to, and it was more complicated because of the disability services. But it still hurt, right? And then in that moment I was like, oh, that's interesting how it's pinging and starting to bring up all of these other hurts that I've had. And you may recognize them, schools not willing to meet your kid where they are, doctor's offices saying, no, they're not going to help you anymore. Maybe your kid got kicked out of therapy because he wasn't compliant enough. I've been kicked out of a bounce house place because my kid was expressing too much autism and it was too much for people. We're just extra. And so in that moment, I was feeling the heart and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then immediately though, I was like, but you know what? Yeah, I recognize that this is a very familiar feeling, but here's the thing that you need to really reframe about it. And that is, it's a blessing, and it's an abundance blessing when people who think you're extra choose not to be part of whatever it is you're trying to build. I'm going to say that again. Thank you for opting out of entering into my circle if you are not really truly committed and not really wanting to be a part of this. Because I guarantee you, if someone is part of your circle of help, whether it's paid, personal, whatever, if they think you're extra and they're doing it out of obligation or because they think they should, it may in the short term work for you, but in the long term, it's always going to be a disaster. So I was sitting in my car, ouch, okay. And then immediately I went to, but you know what? Yeah, this is kind of a pain in my ass because I still have to find somebody who's going to help me with this issue. But I'm actually thankful that now I'm not engaging with this person on this level because they've shown me that they're not interested. And that's okay. It's still, I'm going to have to deal with it, but it's okay that someone has shown me that they don't want to enter into this, and that's actually a good thing. Now, the second step for me in that part is to not take this item that I have and go, well, fine, I'll just do it all myself. And then, take that on and be like hyper independent about making sure that I've got to do all the things myself all the time because nobody helps me out. That's the pendulum over to the other side. And we want to make sure that we don't do that. So, ouch. Thank you for showing me that you don't want to be a part of this. That's cool. Now I have to make sure I keep myself balanced and doing what needs to be done in the moment to keep things rolling, but also not going too far over and being hyper independent about it. So I just wanted to share that with you because for me, I could feel it in the moment as I was feeling it. I was like, this is a reflection of the growth that I have had over the years. Okay. Because having somebody, I have had times in my life where I need help, I reach out to help, people say, no, we're not going to be able to help you. And it's soul crushing. I had a practitioner, he was a vision therapist, and he basically told me, in not so many words, but told me that Spencer was not high functioning enough for him to be able to work with him, right? I've had Spencer almost kicked out of therapy because he wasn't compliant enough, because he was too extra, right? My kid is extra. And we just have to recognize that our families are extra. We have a lot of extra stuff, and we're seen by other people who don't really understand us as really extra. And we're, in the meantime, trying our hardest to not be extra, right? We don't want to be extra. I'm trying to not be extra. Help me not be extra. But we have to see those people, when we reach out for help and we think that people should be able to help us and that they should help us, that in that moment when they choose not to, don't take that personally. Just take it as I guess they're just not that into us. And it's good to know this sooner rather than later. That's a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise. So if you've ever felt like you were extra, just because your kid has a disability, let me know in the comments and share that, because I think there are a lot of people who feel this way, but lots of times we don't really share it a lot because it is hurtful. But, if we can share those experiences and other people can see that they've had those same sorts of things, and it is kind of just par for the course, I think, when you are a caretaker and you have a kid with challenges, that just your vision of what it takes to survive is actually someone else's vision of you being really extra. So really having that balance around what I need versus what I'm expecting other people to give me and how I react to that, and then how I can move forward. That is all about taking care of ourselves and keeping balanced and understanding how we can manage that emotion. I feel this emotion, I'm expressing this emotion, and then moving forward with a path. So let me know if you feel your family is extra in a lot of ways, or you feel that people have denied you care or denied you assistance because of your extrality. I want to hear about it. All right, so y'all have a great weekend. It's sunny, as you can tell. I couldn't find a good parking space, right? Which I'm not complaining about. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.